Outlander Blood of My Blood is going amazing. And honestly, by the end of episode 3, my jaw was literally on the floor. Julia's sacrifice to protect her baby was truly so brave. At this point, I feel like there are no limits to what these characters might do, so I think the action is only going to ramp up even more in the next episodes. So without wasting any more time, let's dive into the incredible dramas waiting for our characters in episode 4. Episode 4 is titled A Soldier's Heart, and the synopsis is: Henry tackles a challenging assignment in his own way. Ellen learns some concerning information about the family into which she's expected to marry. Alright, now we can break down the synopsis. Buckle up, because I've got some pretty wild theories for these two sentences. In the promo, we see Ellen telling Colum that if she marries Malcolm, it means her allegiance would be to them, basically saying straight up, "You'll lose me." If Colum gets affected by this and tries to stop the wedding, maybe Isaac gives Henry the assignment of beating up Ned to intimidate the Mackenzies. That way, the scene we saw in the promo of Henry beating someone up could actually be Ned. And I'm sure that would be a challenging assignment for Henry, since Ned was the one helping him a lot in finding his wife. So what happens after Henry beats Ned up? Let's take a look at that too. Ned will probably go straight to Ellen, since she's clearly the sibling he's closest to. When he tells her what happened, that could be where Ellen learns the concerning information about the Grant family we saw in the synopsis. Honestly, I don't think the show will make it so extreme as to start a war between two families just like that, but if they want to boost the action, this theory would line up perfectly with the synopsis. So it wouldn't be surprising at all if we saw it play out. My second theory about the synopsis is that, like we see in the promo, Isaac might give Henry the task of collecting rent. And while Henry's trying to do that, he could face resistance and end up having to use force. And the person he collects rent from could be someone close to the Mackenzies, which would then lead Ellen to discover just how ruthless the Grant family really is. So, which theory did you like more? Let's meet in the comments. Okay, now let's talk about the other scenes we saw in the promo. For me, the most exciting ones were definitely Julia's. At the end of episode 3, she agreed to be with Simon just so her baby wouldn't be killed. And when the time comes, she'll manage to convince him the baby is his. That was absolutely brilliant and so brave. Plus, by gaining Simon's trust, she basically created a freer space for herself to carry out future plans. In the episode 4 promo, we see Julia making a deal with Brian. Brian asks Julia to deliver a message to Ellen, while Julia asks Brian to help her escape. And then we see Julia meeting Ellen at Ellen's doorstep. I think Julia sneaks into the castle here because I highly doubt the Mackenzies would just open the door to a Fraser slave. But Ellen would definitely open the door to someone who shows that much courage to come see her. Julia would then most likely tell her that Brian is still waiting for her and trying to find a way to help her escape. On top of that, Brian's message might say that even if she doesn't marry Malcolm Grant, Murtaugh is still a suitor. And since the family's approval would never be possible, being together is basically impossible. Hearing this, Ellen will start seriously searching for ways to run away. I think Ellen would need to reach her breaking point before she runs away. Otherwise, she won't want to directly oppose Colum and Dougal, especially when she can still manipulate them so well. Most likely, her breaking point will be when they try to give her to Marcus McCranach. I think we'll see this a few episodes later, because right now, there's almost no action in the show, and at some point, these powerful families have to go to war. And the biggest trigger for that war will be Ellen rejecting all the arranged marriages and running away with Brian. There's another possible path for Ellen and Brian to be together, and I want to share that too. In episode 3, we saw Simon say that if the Grant and Mackenzie families unite, it would be dangerous for them. And Murtaugh even thanked Brian for bringing up the issue, since he thought Simon might try to stop the wedding. At this point, the only plan I can imagine Simon making is to crash the wedding and help Ellen escape. Because really, you can't exactly go ask for your enemy family's daughter's hand in marriage for Murtaugh, right? Either way, I'm sure Simon will somehow step in to stop this marriage. So for Ellen and Brian, there's a little light at the end of the tunnel. But what about Henry and Julia? How will they end up together? I think the key will be Brian's support. In the promo, we see Julia delivering Brian's message, which means Brian now needs to help Julia escape. But I don't think Brian would risk openly going against his father. As we saw in the season promo, when Julia asks Brian for help, he'll go to find Henry first. And when he finds Henry, he'll tell him that he needs to get Julia out of his father's hands. But I really don't see Simon letting Julia go, especially after being with her. So, for Henry and Julia too, the only way out seems to be an escape. That would definitely put Brian in danger too, which honestly I'd love to see, because the show really needs action right now, and Brian is one of the few characters I think could handle such risks. So yeah, those were my predictions for Blood of My Blood episode 4. What do you guys expect to see in this episode? Don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments. And for more Blood of My Blood and Outlander, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. See you in the next one.